my fix, and I'm chatting with Tommy Emmanuel about life as a touring musician and to get some tips for players. Tommy, your life is pretty much spent overseas nowadays.
Yeah.
How often do you get back to Australia?
Usually, well, I usually do one tour a year here. And well, you know, I play here so much that I think it's good that people get a break from me, and also it gives me a chance to come back with new songs and a whole new show, you know.
So when you come back to Australia,
yeah.
Is it a feeling of coming home for you?
Well, always, absolutely. Actually, people say to me a lot when I'm overseas, "Don't you miss Australia?" And I say, well, how can I? I open my mouth and there it is. I strap on my guitar and there it is. You know. So it's a big part of who I am, is where I was born and where I was raised. And so, and of course, Australians fit in everywhere, don't we? You know, doesn't matter which country you go to, we fit in because we know how to treat people.
Do you think that audiences overseas recognise in you an Australian identity? And is that something that you've been conscious of and have worked on?
I don't actually consciously think, well, I've got to make sure that I talk about Australia or that I play Waltzing Matilda or whatever. I don't always do that. I just get out and go for it. And there are some places, like in Germany, for instance, people over there love Waltzing Matilda. So I always play Waltzing Matilda when I play in Germany. Isn't that strange? That's where it goes. And in the United States, of course, they love it as well. And in fact, I recorded it, if you recall, recorded it on the album with Chet Atkins. And he always loved that song. And in fact, it was his idea that we do it on the album. So I always do that.
And how many shows would you do in a typical year?
Well, last year I did 320.
Is that all?
Plus, that's all. Yeah. So, and I do workshops, and I have my own guitar festivals. I have one in Germany, one in England, and some all around America. And we're going to be actually bringing these Tommy Fest. We're going to be doing it in Australia in the future. I'm going to bring players from other parts of the world.
Performing so often, plus travelling, how do you keep your energy level up?
Well, the rule on the road, I think, is sleep when you can get it, even if it's in the middle of the day. If you can get a little power nap to keep your battery charged. Eat well, and you know, look after yourself. A little bit of red wine before you go to bed is the best sleeping pill there is. And I don't know. I think I've been blessed with a good metabolism. You know, as the Chinese say, I have a steel construction instead of an iron constitution. but I think when we, you know, I see the joy on your face when you play, and you obviously see it in me too. So that's another way of keeping your energy up. And the times that I got run down just through too many early mornings and not enough sleep at night, and those are the times when I feel that I have to draw on whatever power God has given me to get through this night. You know, and I remember one time at St. Louis, Missouri, I was so exhausted that the tears welled up in my eyes, and I knew I was in trouble just from sheer exhaustion. And my manager, Gina Mendello, came up to me just before the guy announced me. She said, "Just remember, it's not you playing," and opened the door and pushed me out like that. And so I generally start a show with something that really gets me going straight away. And then once your adrenaline's up, you're right. You know.
Do you ever get frustrated with the guitar?
Well, every day.
Yeah.
You know, the guitar it's a humbling and beautiful instrument. You know, George Benson said it. He said, one day you pick up the guitar and you say, "I'm going to really master this thing. I'm going to show this thing how it's done." And then the next day you pick it up and you feel like a fool. You know.
Yeah.
And you know, it's because we're human. We're different every day, and how we play is a little different. But for me, it's a constant source of enjoyment. And as you know yourself, songwriting is what fires us, isn't it? And that's what drives us. Because there's nothing better than playing your own songs.
Yeah, and therein lies your identity as well.
Exactly.
When we first met 25 years ago, you introduced me to the music of Chet Atkins, and I remember the impact it had on me. Can you explain the impact that Chet had on you as a child when you first heard his music?
Oh yeah, I vividly remember it. I was 7 years old at that time. And I was riding along in the old E.K. Holden with my dad at the wheel, and I had a coat hanger, a wire coat hanger with because the aerial wasn't working, so my dad hot-wired this wire to the back of the old air chief radio, and I'm sitting on the windowsill of the old Holden, hanging on, and we're moving this thing around until I found the station, and on came this. I remember my heart just going boom, 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 like that. What a sound! What a sound! I could hear that he was doing everything at once, you know. And so many people said, "Don't take your notice; it's a recording trick," you know. But I could hear it, and I think one of the reasons why I could hear it is because I'd been a rhythm player through the first 3 years of my playing life. I'd been a rhythm player from my brother, who was the lead player. So I used to. So I'm playing bass and rhythm at the same time, right? I wasn't aware that there was a bass, that the rhythm player was actually going, and the bass was going. So I put the two together by accident, and then, but then I tried to find as many of Chet's albums as possible. And you've got to remember, back in the early 60s, it was hard to find any of his music. And thankfully, I had some friends who lived in Sydney, which was the big city for us kids living out in the bush, who found the best of Chet Atkins and Hank Snow together. And I wore those albums out. And then, of course, as I got older and got into his music a lot more, it became my whole world. You know, I'd come home from school and I'd put the needle down, put headphones on, and that's the world I lived in. You know?
Yeah. So those days, the early 60s, no TVs, no videos. How did you know Chet was using one of these, a thumb pick?
I saw a photo of it.
You thought, that's how he does it?
That's how he does it. Because I actually started finger picking with a plectrum, and see, I can flat pick with a thumb pick, and I can finger pick. And that's how I started. Finger picking was with a flat pick, and then I saw a photo of Chet with a thumb pick on, and I went, of course, you know.
Makes perfect sense.
Yes.
I remember the first time you showed me a Chet Atkins piece. It was a piece of music called Liebestraum, a really good one to learn to get into that style.
Yeah, it's a simple tune and has a really sweet melody.
Let's play a little piece of Liebestraum.
Do you want me to play the melody?
Yeah.
Okay. That song was originally written like this.
Yeah, classical piece.
Yeah. and of course, purists would look at that and say, how could you do that? But it's such a sweet melody, and it just falls on your hands. The seven.
Yeah. Well, we'll get a little close up and see exactly what's going on.
Now, the first rule of thumb, if you'll pardon the pun, is what chord you're playing. The root note of that chord should be your first bass note. So when you're playing in C, it's C, now E, E. So that's the rule of thumb, right? So you go C, E, 87.
The other thing about the sound is that the very percussive thing comes from musing.
Yeah.
Musing with your right hand.
Well, the sound you're looking for is boom, chick, boom, chick, boom, chick. So Chet always played it like that. Like that. Travis would go, Mel Travis would play like the left hand on the piano. He'd just like that and stroke all those strings. But Chet was a bit more meticulous about it.
Yeah. And you get that extra bit of oomph in the backbeat from the two strings being hit together, aren't you? On the down.
Exactly. And the important thing to remember as well is to not let the bass overshadow the melody. When you're working out how to play a tune like this, record yourself and have a listen and make sure that the melody is coming through nice and strong. Because I can usually hear it in a person who's been playing this style just a little while, and they're into the tunes, but they're not into the subtleties of it yet. And so it's important for you to get that. Make the melody have a life of its own kind of thing.
Yeah, and you enhance that by the bass being muted and the treble strings, which you're hitting with your fingers, are open strings, so you get this sort of double two-guitar effect.
Exactly. Well, I always try to find the right and the best key to play a song in, so you can get as many open notes as possible. You know, like instead of, for instance, I go, and that kind of thing, you know. Instead of, I'd go.
And also notice with your left hand, you play a lot of chords with the left hand thumb over the top of the neck, which is a very useful skill to learn. A lot of guitar players are taught they mustn't do that.
No, they said you must draw a line here, and thumb never. But of course, there is a good reason for both. It is right that when you learn classical, because you hold the guitar that way, your thumb. There's no point in doing that, right? Because classical players sit like that. Now, in order for you to get the sounds in this style, sometimes you need to bring your thumb over. I'll give you an example. I'm changing the chord from A to F sharp minor, and in order for me to get that nice melody going, I'm covering the bass with my thumb, and then I'm making going D to E, then I'm going B minor 7. So in order, and a lot of people, because they haven't used their thumb much, think that it's not possible, and I always say it is possible, If I can do it, you can. You know, you can make.
Yeah.
Your body will change. Your hands will change.
I remember 25 years ago we went through the same thing, and I said, "Look at my thumb. Look how short it is.
Yeah.
I can't do it."
That's
and you
right.
said, "No, forget it.
No excuse.
Exactly. And of course, it's
And there it is. Yes.
it's possible.
Anything's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been great to catch up.
Mm.
Just wanted to ask you before we finish up one more question.
Mm.
Are there any, for you, any dreams that you haven't realised yet?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'd like to, like I said, I'd like to do more of my own guitar festivals back here in Australia, and it's my dream actually to come back and live here again, because it's the greatest country on earth, you know. But there are lots of people that I would like to work with, you know, that I would like to learn from. George Benson would have to be way up on top of the list, because the guy's a genius. And Larry Carlton and I, we don't see each other very much, but we seem to be on the same circuit all the time around America. You know, I played in the B.B. King's Club, and Larry's on, you know, the next night, so I leave a message on the stage, LC, get a job, or something like that, you know. And we email each other sometimes. So, I'm just so thrilled that a person can make a good living and have a great life playing the guitar, and it just goes to show you, you know, dedication and determination and sticking to it, and you're going to get there no matter what. Look at what's happening to you, you know. So.
Well, what's the most important lesson that you've learnt about, number one, about guitar playing and about life?
I could write them on the wall and say, it's the melody, stupid. That's the first one, about playing music. It's about the melody, okay? And in life in general, it's, you know, life is not a rehearsal. That kind of sums it up. Life is not a rehearsal. This is the gig, man, and get on with it.
Too true.
Exactly.
We should play something.
All right, you want to play Leave Us Drum, or you?
Yeah, let's have a bit of a jam on that.
All right, then let's go.